Okay, I'm going to do another video just to help other people determine on whether or not their Madagascar is healthy or if they're going somewhere, how to tell if one is healthy. I have a hard time finding these guys, like these here, this guy here, and this one here. Those two I found at Lowe's along with some of the other ones, but this is a totally different species. They still fall under Madagascar palms, however they're a subspecies of which I can't pronounce the name. So I rarely find these. I actually went to a commercial nursery and that's where I found these. These are actually two separate Madagascars placed in one pot, and they seem to do really well, scrunched up. But anyway, when you want to look for a healthy Madagascar, of course you want to see signs that it's got some growth going on. Now for these guys, you're only going to see leaves at the very top. You're not going to see leaves on the trunk, you know. In this guy here, you do see leaves on the trunk. As it ages and grows older, those are going to fall off, and the little holes right there, they're going to disappear. If you notice, I'm doing most of this with long tweezers for obvious reasons. So especially when you see these little pups, and if you're like me and you don't like seeing the leaves in between, the tweezers definitely come in handy to get all of that gunk and everything. So anyway, we'll do it on this guy here because he's pretty healthy and it's a lot easier to check his trunk. So when you're looking at a Madagascar, especially this specific species, which could be differentiated by the leaves on top, you want to look at the symmetry of the trunk. The trunk should be going straight up, and if you notice, the needles tend to go into a spiral pattern up. The needles are pretty long. This is about almost the tip of your finger. The trunk color should be pretty uniform throughout. It's a nice little olive green. When you press on it, the trunk should not be mushy at all. If you press on it, you should be, sometimes you'll see the whole Madagascar move. That's normal. Like I said, this is that species. On this guy, the second type, you can tell the leaves are much thinner. They have a pink line going down to the middle, and they seem to go dormant during the winter, so many times people don't get them because they tend to not look as pretty as the other ones. Usually once it hits about springtime, maybe summer, these guys will start growing their leaves back, and they absolutely look gorgeous. But with these, the trunks are pretty similar. They tend to have a little longer thorns on them, and the thorns, the pattern doesn't really seem to have as much of an organization compared to the other one. As you can tell, they seem to be kind of sprawled out. The thorns are also not as strong, so these guys tend to lose their thorns a lot easier. Every so often with these guys here, they can be a little dangerous because I have seen some of these leaves pop off and have some of the thorns still attached. So you definitely want to be careful because those are not fun to step on. I've done it. It's not fun. With the yellow leaves like this, you can tell that this guy's getting a titch too much water. So you can usually just aerate the soil to help it. Make sure you have the right mix in there. The soil shouldn't stay wet for very long. And I've noticed that these guys tend to like to be bunched up a little bit. I've put them into large pots and they won't grow. Like this guy, I have downgraded his pot and he has shot up 6 inches since I put him in a smaller pot. And here are my other guys over here. These two I've gotten from Lowe's, and they're really nice. It's hard to find them at Lowe's because they only seem to go in every once in a while. As you can tell, this guy's starting to get some more green on him. The little guys, the little pups are what these called. You could see that they're getting more green. So they're really coming back to life. As you notice, this guy also has some leaves on the side. Those will eventually drop and he'll get the straight trunk like this. But he has not started doing the leaves at top. There have been instances where they won't produce leaves for a very long time, and then just one day you'll start seeing leaves everywhere. Now these guys, which are a different species, as you can tell by the leaves, they tend to go dormant. This guy particularly hasn't lost all of his leaves at all, but I wouldn't be surprised if I come back out one day and they're all gone. The leaves get a little fragile at the end, as you can see. What's nice about the Madagascars, and a lot of people do this, I've never tried it with this species, only this one here, is if you cut the tops off, they tend to sprout off shoots. As you can see right here, at one point when this was little, it sustained some damage and it trunked out like that. As you can see, this guy had sustained frost damage at one point, and since he started having a sprout, I didn't chop off the top because I figured it was healed. This spring I probably will chop off the top to just get rid of that damage, because you don't know, that damage is a weak spot now, so it could still be going down into the trunk and ultimately kill the plant. So he'll probably be chopped off with the other one that I have to do too. This guy, I actually did have to cut his top off at one point because he had frost damage. For some reason, this species is a little more sensitive to frost than the other one. I have yet to have a Madagascar of this species need to have a top chopped off. But what's cool is when you have to cut off one of the tops, they start sprouting the side guys, these little side nodules, and they grow to be this big. It will take them a good amount of time. Like, I believe it took these guys probably about a month or two to actually start sprouting once this started forming a callus here. I'm sure these sprouts will get bigger once the plant starts going active again. But that's pretty much how you can tell if the plant is healthy. You shouldn't see any gouges in the trunk. The trunk should be firm. See, you can't really tell. The trunk shouldn't move much. As you notice, this guy doesn't really move much. However, it all depends on their root system and the overall health. But that is it for this video. Stay tuned for more, because I'm going to be working on this guy right here because he had frost damage. Anyway, I hope this has been helpful to show you how to determine if your Madagascar is healthy or not, or maybe piqued your interest on getting a Madagascar. Thank you so much.